Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network, live, woodwardsports.com. We're live here at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. Thank you for being patient with us with all the technical difficulties. Not to throw anybody under the bus, but I swear to God.
But you're going to throw someone under the bus.
I swear to God. How do we fucking disable the input and output of the main audio channel? How does that even happen? Like, you know how hard that is to do, by the way? You have to manually go in the settings on your Windows computer and disable them. That's not something that happens by itself. When I find out who the motherfucker is that did it, I swear to God, they're either going to be A, unemployed, or B, 6 feet under. I swear to God.
So it was intentional. Someone tried sabotaging the show.
What
but
the
we're
living
here.
fuck, man. Anyways, I hope you all had a great weekend. Mine was actually pretty calm. I fixed my sleep schedule.
You did.
I fell asleep by 12:30 last night.
It's better.
I got about 5 hours of sleep. Woke up, ate, drank water, came here early.
Had to deal with this.
Yeah, whatever. You
But
know,
we're here,
We
finally.
can fix these problems. Anyways, for all of you concerned with my beard, it's not going anywhere. To be honest with you, I think I'm going to keep it for a minute. Honestly.
Are you just going to just let it grow?
I don't know. I've never seen it grow out like super long. So
Why not?
We'll see what we can do with it. But it's going to
Grizzly
be a
Bear
fun
Adam.
show today. Of course, always on Mondays, Jeff and I are going to get to our mock drafts around 8:45. Both Jeff and I made trades. We both decided to trade back. I can't wait to see his. An interesting weekend. How about those Tigers? 0-162. Let's go. That's what I'm rooting for.
0-3.
Show me the history. I want to see it.
0-3. First time in 5 years. And on top of that, too, I'm going to read this tweet. Jeremy Reisman tweeted out, Pistons, Tigers, Red Wings, a combined 6-34 since February 25th. Dear Lions, save us all. 6-34 since February 25th.
We'll talk after the show.
That's another level of just the epitome.
Well, look.
The lows of the lows.
You want us to talk about lows? How about society? Probably at the lowest point I've ever seen it. You guys see what happened over the weekend with the women's championship game? Angel Reese, I believe, is her name?
Yes.
LSU girls, women's, I should say, win the national title over Caitlin Carter or Caitlin, what the hell's her name?
Caitlin Clark.
Clark, thank you.
Best
Caitlin Clark,
college
phenomenal
basketball
player, exceptional, da-da-da-da-da. And because there was some shit-talking and a little bit of waving, we all lost our minds over the weekend. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's sports. It's competitive nature.
Mm-hmm.
And last I checked, if you talk shit, you got to be able to handle it back. All right? I don't know where we're going in society, where we're pressuring this girl, Angel Reese, to apologize. She shouldn't.
No.
Kiss my ass. She had every right. I don't care. Good for them. I love the competitiveness. I love the arrogance. I'm all for it. But society, oh my God. How can she say that about her? Where's the sportsmanship nowadays?
You know what frustrates the hell out of me? Watching the game, by the way, at least the women's national title game, it's better. It's the best it's going to get. It's going to be better than the men's, I'll tell you that. And the fact that Angel Reese got any criticism for how she, the trash talking, the banter, pointing at her ring finger, doing the you can't see me. It wasn't a problem when Caitlin Clark did it against Louisville, but now it's a problem when Angel Reese does it, and everyone's bringing up race, and if it was Caitlin Clark, what would you think? It's absolutely ridiculous. All credit to Angel Reese from Baltimore, went to Maryland, had to transfer to LSU.
Oh, we're so soft,
and
dude.
for her to defy all the odds, win the most valuable player of the tournament, all credit goes to her. You
her.
go, girl. I got nothing
How
to
about
say.
your Pistons? Give me some
don't
luck.
even know.
Lost 20 of the
Don't
last
do that.
21.
Don't do that. They
Huh?
haven't won,
Think about that.
You know they haven't won a game since I have to fact check this, but it's been a minute. I think it's been February.
I nutted more over the weekend than the Pistons have won.
Okay, all right.
Over the last 2 months.
Here we go.
You know how sad that is?
Here we go.
You know how sad that is? 20 of 21 they've lost. What a shit product.
I was having a
team.
good morning. I was having a great morning, and then
and you know what the best part is? Keep Dwayne Casey, Adam. Everything is going to be on track next year. It's always next year and next year and next year. Oh my God.
This guy.
Oh my God.
By the way, you know what gave me hope? I know this is a sorry take. But watching Victor Wembanyama, that gave me a little bit of hope.
You know what? Here, I got some more hope for you. You ready for this, buddy?
What's up?
I'm willing to bet my entire life savings.
Don't say it.
That the Pistons are going to get the number 1 overall pick.
Oh, okay.
Because that's what happens.
All right.
Is you lose all year just to be fisted.
Yeah.
And they're going to end up with the 3rd overall pick probably. That's what's going to happen. And I am not mentally prepared for it. It's bad enough I had to watch this team all year. Wait till we find out that they don't have the number 1 overall pick. That's going to make you feel better.
That's why I can't. That's how it is.
Live in La La Land right now while you're still the favorite to get the pick. Wait till that night and the ball doesn't fall your way.
That would be a Pistons move, right? You have the worst record in basketball, and it just slips out of your hands, and you fall to 3. So, hey, listen, if they get the number 1 pick, great. But if they don't, I still like Troy Weaver's chances.
Forget about it.
I do.
All right, look. This is going to be a fun show. Like I mentioned earlier, we got mock drafts coming up. We have trade scenarios. I do want to have the conversation about the Lions in general. A lot. And I'm not talking a handful. I'm not talking dozens. Hundreds of mentions, DMs, comments, almost I could say thousands I've received of, hey, we're being set up for failure. We're being set up for disappointment.
Right.
And I would really like to talk about that at the top of the hour. So we'll get to all that as well. How about the Masters coming up soon? You get to watch Tiger Woods. If you're a fan of golf, good for you. Like Alex Westphal, who, by the way, showed up to work on time. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
come on.
Let's go, Alex.
Anyways, let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get the show on track. We'll have fun. Jeff, we're going to play a little game coming up next.
I can't wait.
What if I told you is the game. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, along with I'm going to give you a series of outcomes. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to tell me, hey, this is what will happen. Okay. So, Jeff, what if I told you is up next? But before we go, I got to tell you, actually, I don't. You do. You have to tell everybody at home about our good friends over at Chili Peppers Tanning.
Well, let me tell you about them. Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms, trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations, and more on the way.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Big Boy, because listen, guys, even in mornings like today, it's important to get over to Big Boy and try their new fish fry buffet, only available on Friday nights. Tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
All right, we're back.
Who is this guy?
Morning Woodward Show
Who
live.
is this guy?
WoodwardSports.com. I'm actually in a really good mood outside of, everything that happened to start the show, but I'm in a good mood, and I figured we'd play a game. To start the show. So it's What If I Told You, Jeff?
Okay.
And your job is to give me the potential or probable outcomes, okay? What if I told you that the Detroit Lions landed Jalen Carter, Lucas Van Ness, and Jalen Hyatt with their first 3 picks in the NFL draft? What would it mean for the Lions' divisional chances?
They would certainly improve, because you just told me they would address their defensive tackle position with arguably the best one, Lucas Van Ness. You get an edge rusher to complement Aiden Hutchinson along with Jalen Carter. And then you get Jalen Hyatt, who I think perfectly fits kind of what they're missing. Another guy that can, stretch the field, not as big as Chark, but I love it. All 3 picks, those guys would all contribute.
Okay.
I think right away.
What if I told you
Oh, gosh.
that the Minnesota Vikings made a move for a quarterback in the NFL draft?
They traded up.
They traded up and moved for a quarterback.
Well, depends on who it is. If it's
Don't
Anthony
worry about the
Richardson,
who.
I'm probably less concerned. But it would be interesting. It would tell me that the Vikings are looking at the future, and they're somewhat of a competent football team, and they know Kirk's not the future. And I think it'd be a good move for the Vikings. But again, am I scared of Will Levis or AR-15? I would say no. So
Okay, what if I told you that the Detroit Lions won 12 games this upcoming season? They won a playoff game. And they went and played on the road in San Francisco or Philly in an NFC title game. What if I told you they did all that, and let's say they lost? Jeff Iafrate's reaction.
I'd probably show up to the morning show without clothing. Number
bet.
one. But number two, I would find the quickest way to get downtown because I know that the city would be electric just to be in an NFC title game, depending on how the game goes. But yeah, if they win a playoff game, you're telling me they win 12 games, they win the division, and they go toe-to-toe in the NFC title game, I think we would sit there at the end of the season and say,
Wow.
yeah, they checked a lot of those boxes. And now the following year, enough of this playoff talk. You're a Super Bowl contender. It's Super Bowl, or you're getting to the Super Bowl. Or
Well,
it's a
that's
bust.
why I asked you the what if I told you with Carter and those players, because I was trying to get out of you Super Bowl contenders. So let me ask you this: what if I told you that the Lions won 7 games this year?
Oh well,
That's
healthy.
Don't worry about context. It's a normal regular season.
It would be a disappointment. It would be a failure, actually. I wouldn't even say disappointment. I think disappointment would be 9 games. I think a failure, if you win 7, that's a failure. Somebody is going to have to fall on the sword there, and I don't know who it would be. If it's Jared, if it's Dan, somebody was going to be held accountable for that. If you win 7 games with this roster.
What if I told Jeff Iafrate that the Lions, with the 6th overall pick in the NFL draft, selected Anthony Richardson?
Well, I wouldn't love it. But at the end of the day, I think Brad has earned our trust until proven otherwise. So I think I would be skeptical, somewhat optimistic. But I think at the back of, and you would agree with me, the back of our head, we would know, okay, we'll see how this goes. But I would understand it. If you take a quarterback at 6, I've already talked about this, I'm open to the idea, maybe not Anthony Richardson, but I would give it some time. I would allow it to play out. And as soon as Anthony Richardson plays and he doesn't look good for a stretch of games or for the year or two to come, then you bet there's going to be criticism. So I think I'd be skeptical, but if it's Brad, I'm willing to hold my criticism until we see him. Because I at least get the philosophy of it, drafting a quarterback at 6. Maybe I don't like the player, but if Brad does, then he's earned the right. He really has.
You saw the NFL release their over-under totals, right? The odds makers.
Yes.
And Lions were at 9.5. And I think the majority of us are comfortable taking the over, but there was another team in the NFC that I was shocked to see at 9.5, and that's the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
So what if by the way.
9.5.
So what if I told Jeff Iafrate that the New Orleans Saints would win their division and 10 games? Would you buy that? How much stock are you buying into it?
Not much. I'm not a big Dennis Allen guy. I'm not a huge fan of Dennis Allen, but if they win 10 games, would I be shocked?
Do they have the
No.
defense?
Yes, they do. And they have Derek
They just
Carr. They got
upgraded
weapons.
at quarterback,
Yes.
right? I mean, it makes sense. It's the NFC South. That's not
It's not
all
very
that
good
strong.
either. If they win their division, I wouldn't be shocked, but 10 games, it's a good season. Coming off what they just came off of. I mean, they were with 8-7. They had 7 wins last year. 8
the
wins?
Saints, I believe, 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be completely shocked, but again, I mean, how seriously would I take the Saints? Not that serious, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay. All right. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, you think, the Saints they're in the picture.
No, but you could sell me on the idea of them winning 10 games in that division. They could go 6-0 in that division alone.
Right. That division
who
speaks
are they
more.
playing?
Speaks more
a
about how
rookie
bad the
quarterback
division is.
with the Panthers?
Yeah.
A quarterbackless Tampa Bay Buccaneer team? Oh, well, excuse me.
not great
The Atlanta
competition.
Falcons.
Desmond Ritter?
Desmond
Vicious
Ritter.
guy.
Desmond Vicious guy.
He would draft him 6 overall.
Dude. Look. All right, last question, and we'll move on. What if I told you, Jeff,
Okay.
that the Lions I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is part of the game. What if I told you the Detroit Lions were to make the Super Bowl in the next 3 seasons. How much stock are you buying into that? Are you smiling?
Because that's it. The Lions in the Super Bowl. Those words coming out of your mouth. The next,
Well,
the next 3 seasons.
I'm asking. You have a 3-year window.
With how they're building,
Don't worry about how.
would I be shocked? What are you asking? What would be my reaction to
Do
that?
you think this is a team that can make the Super Bowl
yes.
in the next 3
How
years?
it's being constructed, yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get
But the
at.
actual, wow.
Well, no,
Just
I
think
look.
about
I
where
mean,
we
the
came
idea
from.
of getting there, that's a whole different conversation. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
but
that's the goal.
Point is,
Your goal is to win the Super
point
Bowl.
is,
Yeah.
do you trust the GM?
Yes, I do.
Happy with how he's building the team?
Yes, I do.
I think you have a lot of questions still to answer with coaching, even the quarterback position. Once you get a playoff win, expectations are going to rise, right? Everybody's going to want the next playoff win in an NFC title berth, and then eventually to win the NFC title game and get to a Super Bowl, right?
Right.
But that's when reality hits, and it's like, wait, okay, the Bills haven't made a Super Bowl yet. The Niners haven't gotten to the Super Bowl, and they've had the best roster in the NFC for the last 2 years. Right? So you scratch your head a little bit, and it's like, oh.
But then there's Philly, who wins the Super Bowl, constructs their whole roster.
No, gets to one. Yeah.
And then makes
Oh,
another one.
I see what you're
You see what I'm
saying
saying?
now.
Like,
Yeah.
So again, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but yeah. I at least trust Brad.
Do you
Dan
think they
has
have a
shown
Super
enough.
Bowl window?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So what is your definition of a Super Bowl window? Because mine, I think, is very different, and some would say it's actually pretty easy. To me, you have to be one of the 3-4 best teams in your conference, and I consider you a Super Bowl contender. Not because I think you'll win it, but because if you're one of the 3-4 best teams in your conference, you have a shot to get to at least a title game.
Right.
Which puts you in a position to be a potential Super Bowl
Especially if you win your
contender.
division. Yeah.
Right? So that's my definition. I think the Lions are one of the 3-4 best teams in the NFC right now. So they're technically there. I just think everybody is not going to give them that.
Right.
Because you do have to earn it, right? Nobody considered Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Nobody considered any of these top quarterbacks to be, quote, franchise guys up until they delivered, right? You were always waiting. You were waiting for it. Herbert, you waited to see a little bit more. And that's the reality. It's a bit wait and see. I think if they win the division and win a playoff game, it wouldn't shock me if all next season we're discussing, hey, this is a Super Bowl contender. They should get to the title game. Anything short would be disappointing. I think that's a fair conversation to have.
I think part of it, too, is contractually. Like, you have some of your best players on rookie deals. You have Jared on I would say, a significant discount to market, $30 million. To me, that's also the window. Like, if you can win in a window where most of your good players, Panay, Amon-Ra, Aiden, these guys are all on rookie deals, Kirby, that's also a window, because once these guys start coming up for contracts and you got to decide if you're going to pay off, things get complicated. So I think a window, you're absolutely right. If you're one of the best teams in your conference, you're in a window currently already, but it also speaks to who you have under contract. The Lions have a lot of young players under contract, and you want to win now while those guys are contributing on rookie deals before you start handing out big contracts, and some guys are going to have to leave. So I think that's part of the window too. The Lions are in a good window right now with everybody locked up under contract. They got cap space next offseason. So it's a hell of a window for the Lions, no doubt about it.
Their window is now, I'd say they have a 5-year window. And
That's
that
fair.
5-year window is based on Jared Goff working or not working. It doesn't matter to me. If he works and you extend him for a year or two, no problem. That's part of your 5 years. Yeah. If you don't and you move off him, cool. You have a rookie quarterback, what? But you have a huge amount of cap space and, of course, a very good roster to assemble around him. Right? So I think your window is 5 years regardless. Now they have to go out and prove it.
Yeah, that's
They
fair.
have to go out and prove it. It's no longer, they look great. They look great down the stretch. No, you need to look great from week 1 to week 17 or now week 18. You got to play 17 games. You got to win your division. You got to host and hopefully win a playoff game. Right. And then I think people will really take this team serious.
I like this comment too. Marcello says Marcello says $15 million next year. Yes, you are correct. I'm trying to find the comment talking about Brad Holmes. I can't find it, but whoever said it, sorry, I can't find your name. Mentioning Brad Holmes, the window's open longer with Brad, because if Brad, that's the thing with the Eagles, right, with Howie Roseman. Yes, you may lose John Hargraves, you might lose, whoever, but you have guys that you draft to fill those positions as well. So again, I'll bring up the rookie contracts. You have guys, significant players on rookie deals that are locked under contract. But if Brad can continue to draft guys to kind of replace those guys, if you're going to let them go, I'm not saying you should, then I agree. I think your window's 5 years, but having Brad Holmes and his ability to find talent, it might even extend that a little bit.
I like it
with his ability, especially late in the draft.
Well done,
especially.
chat. I like the improvement of the chat over the last few weeks. You guys are growing on me. Much better. Much better. We'll take a break.
Woodward Show chat.
When we get back, Jeff and I will have some fun. We'll get to the Jalen Carter footage. Of course, that came out, and you know what? I do have a few things I want to say about this, and I think it's both fair and unfair because, well, the truth is in life, 50% of the people will agree with you and 50% won't, right? So we'll see. We'll see what you guys think of the Carter footage. We'll get to that next, but before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Be sure to check with Swiss Insurance this week for your commercial insurance review. Swiss can help make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance, give them a shot. You will not be disappointed. Contact them, mark@swissins.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there.
Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
All right. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate. As always, if you missed the show live, you can always go back, download the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll be able to find us. Leave Jeff a 5-star review.
Please.
Look at his hair. I'm so happy your hair is growing back, by the way.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. You probably need another month and a half.
Yeah, no doubt, yeah.
You're getting there, though. I'm happy
We're
for
making
you.
progress. Michigan, I will never forget what you did to me. I'll hold it against you.
Yeah, never bet your hair, buddy.
It's actually my fault, if we're being
honest.
honest. I put my hair on Michigan. That was the first mistake. Sorry, Sam Flannel, but can't do it ever again.
Okay,
and
look.
Sam would understand.
So we all saw the Jalen Carter footage over the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be one that's going to jump on the kid and say he's a liar. Look, I've been in car accidents before. I've totaled my car before. You get very, worked up. You know, anytime anything crazy happens, you're talking to an officer, especially at that age.
Well, with that much on the line as well, it's Jalen frickin' Carter.
Well, it's Jalen Carter, but at the end of the day, he is a kid.
Yeah.
He's a young adult. And I don't think I would handle myself. I'm not saying I would any better than he did in that situation. Having said that, it's a bad look. It's a really bad look.
Yeah.
And I don't think those officers helped him any. I don't think they helped him much, to be honest with you. They were nice, but his story was everywhere.
I know it was.
Denying the racing. Look.
The officer had to pry out of him if he was even near the car.
His story just didn't add up. His story
and then he
didn't
said
add
he was
up.
driving a Jeep, which he wasn't driving a Jeep. I thought it was reported he was in some sort of sports car, if I'm not mistaken. But it was everywhere, to sum it up. If you watch the video,
look,
it was concerning.
In his defense, I know what it's like to be in a shit situation and you're nervous and you're scared. But lying doesn't fix it. Bullshitting a story doesn't fix anything. The best way to handle everything always is being upfront and truthful. Having said that, you guys are asking me to draft this kid at 6th overall. And I get it. He's such a talent. On tape, nobody was a better interior defensive lineman than this guy over the last year and a half, you could argue.
Yep.
Jalen Carter is him on the field. But when I'm giving you $20, $30 million, it's my right to ask what the hell's going on off the field. Pac-Man Jones had all the talent in the world. Off the field issues really messed him up.
Yeah.
Pac-Man Jones, really good corner. Loved him growing up. Jamarcus Russell, all the intangibles to be one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Zero intangibles mentally. Couldn't handle himself off the field. Once he left the facility, done deal. The list goes on and on. Baker Mayfield, Baker's a perfect example of this. Running away from the cops. That's your franchise quarterback? Look, when we talk about a top 10, top 12, top 15 pick even, I want to draft somebody that I hand in the card, Jeff, and I never think about him again.
Right.
And with Jalen Carter, that video is not going to help him. I'm sure there's a team out there that is like, all right, here we go. He's going to fall to 15, 18, 20, 22, and we're going to snag him.
Right.
Okay, fine. But I've seen the story play out for the worst more often than it played out for the better. In my lifetime. You guys can give me examples, tell me I'm wrong. I don't think I am. In my life, all the guys that struggled with this, and it was public and on tape, and it was really bad, they typically don't work out in the NFL. They just don't. And even if they give you a good year or two, it's never long term. Right? And when I'm thinking of the 6th overall pick, I'm thinking a decade player. If I'm picking in the top 10, I'm looking for a decade player. And I not always get that. Some guys give me 7 or 8. I'll take 7 or 8 very good years, don't get me wrong. But
right.
With Jalen Carter, Jeff, that cop footage, that whole thing really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not going to accuse him of anything. That's not my right. I'm not going to cast judgment on a kid. But at the end of the day, when you're asking me to draft you 6th overall, you're asking me to do a lot. And again, do I think Kalijah Cansey, Lucas Van Ness, Tyree Wilson, any of these guys are better than Jalen Carter day one? No, I don't. It'd be ludicrous to say Jalen Carter, one of the most phenomenal interior prospects we've seen come out. But I can't unsee what I've seen. And now you're asking me to make a hard decision at pick 6. And yeah, I run the risk of passing on him and he turns out to be a stud. Or I run the risk of drafting him and his off-the-field issues bleed into his on-the-field production, and I never get what I wanted or what I believed I was getting when I drafted him.
No, it's true. And even for Jalen, I mean, you watch that video, it is concerning. I mean, him denying not racing, clearly he's scared. And again, I'm not making excuses, but it is what it is. You watch the video, you understand that. The real question Brad and Dan have to answer is, and Dan kind of talked about this a little bit at the media day, the owners' meeting in Arizona, do you believe your locker room and culture is strong enough to take on somebody like Jalen Carter? Right? Because to your point, and I get this, if the Lions don't draft him at 6, I will understand. Because if you're taking somebody at 6, you don't want to have to worry about them when they're away, when they're on their own. Now, this could either go two ways. One, Jalen Carter could learn from his mistake. He could be a better man. You know, all the adversity we talk about him facing, and right, his pro day looked ugly. I think that real test comes when training camp starts, when the season starts, preseason. Then you get to see how does Jalen Carter respond to adversity. But you're absolutely right. If you're taking somebody at 6, there shouldn't really be that many question marks. I know someone brought up Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, it was hazing. Like, come on, guys. Like, hazing and what Jalen Carter did are not the same thing. It's significant what Jalen did. It's not a good look. But are you going to pass up on that type of talent is the real question. Because let's say you don't take Jalen Carter and you think, well, if he's there at 18, we'll take him. And let's say he goes 13 and you take Tyree Wilson. And Jalen Carter is a all-pro D tackle for 8, 11 years, whatever it is. Are you going to look back and say, damn, we should have just brought him in this culture?
No.
And
I won't.
That's the real question, because in my opinion, he's too good to pass up on, but I will understand if Brad goes, we're good.
When I make a decision, I don't live with regrets. If I'm going to pass on Jalen Carter, it's for those reasons, and I'm going to live with it. And if he ends up being everything everybody thought he would be, fine. Fine. I'll take responsibility for my decision. I'm not going to regret it, though. I'm not.
Right.
That's not how you operate at all in the NFL. So, look. We'll talk about Jalen Carter for the next month leading up to this draft, which is, 24 days away.
And this is what's even more tough, because in heavyweights, they had Coach JB on the show, Jason Brown, I believe his name is. from the Netflix series. And he talked a lot about Jalen Carter. And one thing he talked about is if you look around the league, too, Alvin Kamara, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, a lot of guys with some situations that they got a lot of scrutiny for. Now, this is different because Jalen Carter hasn't been drafted yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big one.
And he wasn't all-pro before this happened.
True. So that's the part that Brad's going to have to juggle is, are you willing to still take him even with the character risk? Does he show remorse? Do you have certainty that he will learn from his mistakes? I don't know Jalen Carter like that, but looking at the talent, it's too good. How many opportunities will you have to draft arguably the best player at 6? Not too many. Not too many chances.
Let me ask you this. Give me an honest answer. Do you think Jalen Carter, from when he was recruited till his final year at Georgia, do you think he was, how would I say this? Do you think he was improving year after year after year? Because he was a 5-star recruit.
Yes, he was.
One of the highest that came out. Do you think Jalen Carter was better than when he showed up at Georgia? Did he get better every year? I am really happy you're struggling with this.
Yeah, because
that's the fucking
he was
point.
just always like great.
He was just always great, right?
Yeah, there was never. Yeah,
I get it.
I get what you're saying.
I get it. Does anybody remember Aiden Hutchinson coming out?
Well,
anybody remember Aiden Hutchinson as a recruit?
Well, what was he? 3-star?
Aiden Hutchinson was a 4-star recruit.
4-star.
Okay. You know who else? Not even a 4-star. You know who's a 3-star coming out right now? That was a 3-star recruit. Kalijah Kancey.
I know you were going to go there. I knew you were going to
Kalijah Kancey walked into Pitt as a 3-star and worked his way into the top 15, top 18, wherever you want to put him of the NFL draft. That's impressive. He keeps getting better. He's got the work ethic to show that his size or his arms aren't going to inhibit him from performing.
Right.
So he's checking off all these boxes, right? And then I get to Jalen Carter, and it's like, he's just always been Jalen Carter. Well, has he ever taken his game to the next level? Has he ever shown the off-the-field commitment to be the best he can be on the field? Has he ever gotten better? You struggling to answer that is why I'm passing on him.
Yeah, because the thing you brought up, if you're comparing Aiden and his off the field, his focus, his love for the game to Jalen Carter, it quite frankly isn't the same because, again, you bring up a job interview, your pro day in your backyard, that's your opportunity to show everybody, listen, I made a mistake, but this is my opportunity to rebound and show people I'm serious about my craft. And quite frankly, he bombed that interview. So as much as I want to try and defend Carter or make sense of it, that's a hard pitch. To go out to your pro day and lay an egg like that, I mean, it's not a great look. So, again, if they pass on him at 6, I'll understand why. But, man, you're going to have to really think. Because when you do these mock drafts, I know a lot of you guys have, and you see who's available, and let's say you have Carter, Tyree Wilson, and Will Levis in the corners, Devon Witherspoon, and Christian Gonzalez. Can't see, like...
I fall in love with guys that show consistent improvement. And maybe I draft Jalen Carter, Jeff, and he's just Jalen Carter, what he is now, and that's all he'll ever be. And that might be like 3-4 really good years in the NFL.
Right.
And that's it. And maybe that's worth it to everybody at home. But then there's the guys that just have an innate ability to prove the doubters wrong, play with a chip on their shoulder, work out in the off season with a chip on their shoulder.
Right.
And they just get better and better and better and better. You look at all the first-round picks, guys, every year, half of them were either not even recruited, 3-star, 2 stars coming out of high school. Why? They're underlooked, and they work their way up. And it's the same damn theme, every year. I'm not saying Carter won't work. But all I know is it's Jalen Carter. And I've never seen him elevate to the next level. And am I banking on him doing it in the NFL? I mean, he's a damn good player. He could be phenomenal. He could take that next step. But I watched Kalijah Kancey show up at Pitt as a freshman, be average, be very good year 2, and be great year 3. And he's gotten stronger, faster, better, every year. I saw the same with Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson, the COVID year, that was all a thing, right? But he came out, and he had a Heisman-type season. And you were like, wow, this guy outworks everybody. He checks off all the off-the-field problems. You know what? Kayvon Thibodeau, Trayvon Walker, probably more talented, right? They were more talented than Aiden Hutchinson. 9.5 sacks year one.
And Joe says,
I think I like the investment.
WoodwardSports.com, he says, who's to say this won't put a chip on Carter's shoulder? Nobody. It easily could. But how do we know that?
A chip on your shoulder is when you are working so hard for something or towards something because you felt you're being slighted. You are being doubted. Nobody's doubting Jalen Carter's talent. That's why he showed up at his pro day overweight and like a slob and underperformed because he's Jalen Carter. And that's the point. When you have a chip on your shoulder, you don't make those mistakes. When you are mentally dialed in, nothing can throw you off your game. Nothing. Not even tragedies in life. When you are dialed in to being the best human you can be at anything, you will not let a single damn thing get in your way.
But this is ACAV, WoodwardSports.com says, if this was a chip on his shoulder, he ate it already. 9 pounds heavier.
That's my stub.
Yeah,
that's coming from me. Anyways, we'll take a break. That was fun. When we get back, mock draft time.
What are we doing?
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm first. Last week you went first. I'm going to go first this time. I traded back with Atlanta. That's all I'm giving you. I traded back with Atlanta, and I was considering trading back into the first round. We'll get to all that next, but before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today. Go to planetfitness.com or one of their many Metro Detroit locations. Get started. Your fitness is essential. It's only $10 a month. Take care of yourself. Go to the gym 40, 50, 60 minutes a day. It's all it takes, guys. Stop being lazy. Get your asses in shape. You'll thank me later. Change your life. We'll be right back with mock drafts.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Join the Woodward Sports family and 100,000 other sports fans for the biggest party in Detroit. The home opener for the Detroit Tigers will be broadcasting live, me, Adham, Beydoun, the other shows as well, from the Grand Slam Festival at 350 Madison, from the biggest tent party in the D. You can check in for Woodward Sports at the block party with Brass Rail, Love and A Tequila and Annex. Baseball season is here, and there's only one city that can handle Woodward Sports. See you in Detroit.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate. Jeff, it's Mock Draft Monday time. Detroit Lions edition. This is our 6th iteration of it. We will have 8 total by the time the NFL draft comes around. And I've never not changed who I take with their first pick.
I know you don't.
And I don't think I'll be changing it anytime soon.
Especially for trading back. You know, it's some interesting scenarios.
I don't think you can put a cost or a value number on making the right decision. If you make the right decision, nobody cares when you took the guy.
Very true.
It's that simple. People only complain that Baker Mayfield was a bust and a horrible pick at number 1 because, well, he didn't work.
Yeah.
If he was the second coming of Patrick Mahomes, everybody would have told the Cleveland Browns how great of a job they did, right?
Right.
So that's the reality. But here's my mock. All right, Alex, you can throw it up on the screen. Everybody, this is my mock draft 6.0. I'm not changing who I'm taking first off the board. I traded back with Atlanta. I got pick 44. I traded 81 to get their 75th overall pick, and that was my board. Also, I gave up a later 6th-round pick. But anyways, this is the board. We'll start with Kalijah Kancey at 8. He's my guy. For Detroit, for me, it's worth it. For Detroit. If I'm the Raiders, if I'm Atlanta, I don't think I can get away with a Kalijah Kancey convincing my community. But for me, For the Lions, I think this is such a home run pick. At 18, I struggled here. Joey Porter off the board, Christian Gonzalez off the board, Devon Witherspoon off the board. Everybody's off the board that I want at corner.
Right.
Okay, fine. Well, Bijan Robinson was available. Nope. Jordan Addison was available. Nope. And I'm not even saying that Lucas Van Ness needs to be a day one starter to the point where he's getting 90% snap counts. I don't mind him his first year in the NFL getting a 50% snap count, sharing snaps with all the guys, Aquara, Houston. I don't mind it. That's a stash of talent and develop him, and by year 2, year 3, he breaks out.
Right.
I'm okay with that. And at 18, what am I doing? And I didn't want to trade out again, and I didn't want to get a future pick. I figured, you know what? Let's have fun with the mock. Let's just take players, right? Pick 44, I was trying to trade up to 35. I offered 44 in next year's third to move up to 35.
Mm-hmm.
But they said no. So I was like, whatever, I'm not going to get Jack Campbell because typically he was taken between 32 and 36.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure I got him. He was still on the board. Well, lucky for me, they said no, and he was available. I don't think that's real, and I'll always call a spade a spade. I don't think that's even ever a possibility. But damn it, I'll take it. At 48, you guys know how I feel about wide receiver. I think it's a second, third round option for the Lions this year. Jalen Hyatt, perfect fit. But this is my favorite pick of the whole board. This is my favorite pick. Julius Brents.
Oh.
Cornerback, Kansas State, pick 55. I absolutely love this. This, out of everything, is my favorite pick on the board. I love that he was available at 55. I address the secondary. I address linebacker. I get 2 defensive linemen. I get a wide receiver. And then in the third round, I have no risk. Hendon Hooker can never play a snap for the Detroit Lions, and I don't care. And to be honest with you, I don't even love him. But I don't care. Because the idea of drafting Hendon Hooker at 75 to me is low risk, high reward. If he doesn't work out, nobody cares. He was a third round pick. And if he works out, you guys can thank me later on. 5th round, you guys know how I feel about it. I've never changed. 5th round goes to a running back no matter what. Keaton Mitchell out of East Carolina. And then, of course, we take a kicker at pick 183. Jeff, give me your initial reaction.
I like it. I mean, could have went a lot of different scenarios. The fact they got Jack Campbell, and I think you admitted that, unrealistic. But still, if you're looking at the players, Jalen Hyatt, Jack Campbell, Lucas Van Ness, Cansey, even Julius Brents. I know he didn't run the fastest 40, but still big corner. I like it. All these guys, a majority of them, are going to be able to contribute. But you know what I love. You know what pick I love the most? It's Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee in the 3rd round. I love it. Again, you don't have to take a quarterback at 6. I know we talked about the possibility being open to it, but even if you don't, you got Hendon. You can take a Clayton Tune late in the draft. I love the way you went Hendon. I think he's going to be ready by the season, so I love it. You adjust a lot of positions. I love that you took a wide receiver. And again, you mixed it up. I think now post DJ Chark, we're open. Now you kind of are looking at more wide receivers. You've seen that more in our mock drafts. But I love it, honestly. Hendon Hooker pick, I absolutely
All right,
love.
let's see the grades, guys. Drop a grade.
Drop the grades.
Jeff, what would you give me?
I'd give you an A. I did. I think you addressed positions of need. You got players that I like, that I think a lot of people are going to like, and players that can come in right away and contribute. So, and great value, by the way. I mean, even Jack Campbell, Julius Brents, Hendon Hooker. You took players. I love the Jake Moody. That adds a little bonus in there, too. So
Tyler.
I'd give you an A.
Tyler, he said Deonte Banks at 18 is a huge upside move. I agree. I will say when I first looked at Deonte Banks, I didn't like him. And then Jeff yelled at me off camera, and I went and looked more. He's a nice player, worthy of a first-round pick. He was not available. All 4 corners were off the board. Right. I had 0 options at 18 to take anybody. Any draft with Brents is an A+. Julius Brents, man, that's your Emmanuel Forbes basically for me in this draft.
I love it. Yeah,
I thought it was a solid pick at 55. High value. I get Hyatt. I get Hendon Hooker. Again, it's Hendon Hooker, guys, in the 3rd round. As if I'm drafting somebody in the 3rd round that's going to come in and be a Pro Bowler in the next 2 years. Probably the odds very low.
Do you think Hendon Hooker can beat Nate Sudfeld for the backup quarterback
I hope
position?
he can. And
yes,
if he
can.
doesn't play for 2 years, and the Lions are left with, I don't know what to do at quarterback, hopefully by then you can figure out if he's the guy or if you draft somebody. I don't care. To me, it's a whatever pick.
Right.
It's literally zero risk, only upside. If he is an average NFL quarterback, that's a good pick. If he's anything more than average, it is a phenomenal pick.
Right.
Zero risk
Huggy
involved.
Bear says, Jeff, you said Hendon Hooker will be ready by the start of the season. My question is, ready for what? Ready to be the backup. That's what I meant. And it's true. He'll be ready by the season. So you're absolutely right. Justin says Hooker wouldn't have to be ready for 2 seasons. Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
Everyone that hates on Hooker's age has nothing else to bring up other than the fact that he just turned 25 in January. He can easily get 10 years out of him. That complaint is an absolute joke. Funky, I agree. To be honest with you, I don't care about Hendon Hooker's age anymore. You know why? Because if you told me Hendon Hooker, okay, in theory, was a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and you told me he gave me 7 seasons to my franchise, any franchise, not just the Lions, I think that's a really good pick.
Oh, yeah.
In the second or third round. You tell me I get 7-8 years of, quote, a Pro Bowl level quarterback, anybody would take that. You'd be stupid not to. So, yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. To me, the age thing is being overblown. You're spending a third on a backup. We got Kirby in the third. Okay. So let me ask you this. Who are you going to get in the third round this year that you're sold on? A.T. Perry? Nah. Jamie Robinson? No. You're good at safety. What corner are you going to get in the third round? Please. And Garrett Williams? No. It's a third-round pick. I'm not worried at all. I'll take the chance on Hendon Hooker. He can go in and compete with Sudfeld.
Oh, yeah.
Win the backup job easily.
Come on. Even this comment, too, Answer 14 says, Jeff is getting misty over that Hooker pick. He and Maz love the quarterback thing. Listen, me and Maz have a different philosophy. Maz will take anybody and their mother at 6 at quarterback. I'm a little different.
Maz is a prostitute that works on the corner, right? You give him $5, he'll get on his knees whether you're a guy or a girl.
Maz will take any of the quarterbacks at 6. I want 2 that are going to be gone the first 2 picks. So we are not the same, but yes, quarterback, you got to at least get one. I think they'll draft one this year. I do.
If you test the waters on Cansey and pass on Anthony Richardson, you're smoking crack. Anthony Richardson, dude. I will never get over this. Guys, hear me out before you yell at me, okay?
All right.
Here's what I think of Anthony Richardson. I think if you live in a fantasy world where you say who has the most upside of anybody coming out, I think you can make the argument for Anthony Richardson, right? He's mobile, dynamic, strong,
big,
super talented arm, all the attributes you'd want in a quarterback, okay? Let's live in your fantasy land. And I'll use Josh Allen as the example because a lot of people are comparing his college career to Josh Allen, but what they forget and what they miss is Josh Allen played multiple years and had a ton of game film and game tape that you could look at and say, wow. The difference between Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson right now coming out is with Josh Allen, you had about 200-300 throws to pick from. With Anthony Richardson, you have to go to every game and maybe pick 1 or 2. You're like, oh my God, if he could make that throw more consistently. Oh my God, you see that? Oh my goodness, you see that throw? And there's probably 20 to 30 throws over the course of a season compared to the 100 to 300 that you had with Josh Allen when he was taken at 7. I think the Anthony Richardson thing is being overblown. I would not take him as a general manager in the NFL, especially that high in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
To me, if I could get him at 12, 14, 18, 20, 22, sign me up. I'm willing to take the risk. I can live with it. But when you ask me to spend the 6th overall pick, I am looking for an all-pro player, a 3-4-time all-pro player, and a 7, 8, 9-year stretch. That's what I'm looking for.
Now, to your logic, if he works out, there you go. Then
and if he doesn't,
then you're most likely you're taking.
And if he doesn't,
if you're the general manager,
if he doesn't, and again, you can get away with missing on a corner. You can get away with missing on a defensive lineman, an offensive lineman, a wide receiver. You can't get away with missing on a quarterback, guys.
Especially if you don't have a backup option.
You are not allowed to miss on quarterbacks. That is the number 1 rule in the NFL. Convince me why. You look at Josh Allen coming out of, what was it, Wyoming?
Yep, Wyoming.
You look at Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming, threw for 4,300 yards this last year, Excuse me. I'm choking on my own self this year. He was 2 full years as a starter, right? He gave you 2 full years. And to me, 4,800 yards, by the way, for his career. I misspoke. Anyways, he gave you over 600 attempts. 600 attempts. 350 completions. Anthony Richardson gave me what? Exactly. It's such a different sample size, man. You're asking me to look at Anthony Richardson, guys, and to take him at 6. You're asking me to take him at 6 based off of 20 to 30 throws maybe I've seen over game tape of him making spectacular throws where you're like, holy hell, how the hell do you do that? But you'll ignore the other 150 throws where you're like, what the fuck is he doing? It's the same with Will Levis. Will Levis makes awful decisions. That's why nobody should touch him in the top 10.
Right.
He has a consistent habit on tape of making awful decisions. Who wants to take that in the top 10? Now, again, in your fantasy land where everybody works out and it's all perfect, Anthony Richardson has the highest ceiling, yes. But I'm not taking him over Stroud or Young. I'd bet my money on those two before him.
Stephen Baffy says Anthony Richardson completion percentage last year 53.8, prior year 59.4. That is a bit concerning to me. Prior year is a smaller sample. Okay, but Josh Allen is the exception, not the rule. I think that last part. I think that last part's spot on. Josh Allen is the exception, not the rule. Yeah, because again,
Lamar at the end of the first round. I'll take Anthony Richardson at 31.
Right.
If the Lions trade back into the first round and take Anthony Richardson at 31, I would have no problem with it at all.
Now, the difference, though, because you could say, well, if you redo a redraft, Lamar goes, top 5. He'll go with the head of everybody.
Lamar was a Heisman-winning quarterback coming out, and he wasn't even projected into the top 10.
He was.
Think about that.
Check his numbers.
Lamar was supposed to be a second-round pick.
Yeah, Lamar.
And Baltimore came in at the last minute, wanted the fifth-year option. They did well. Good for them. Lamar Jackson, a Heisman winner, whose numbers shit on Anthony Richardson, who was more accurate in college than Anthony Richardson could ever dream of being, who played with less talent than he played with at Florida.
True.
Heisman candidate, Heisman winner. Lamar wasn't a top 10 pick. You want to convince me of Anthony Richardson at 6. Should be fun. Let's get to your mock draft coming up next. We'll get to Jeff's. Drop your grades for mine one more time in the chat, and then we'll get to Jeff's mock draft coming up next. But before we go, I got to tell you about my friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. Who loves lobster more than me? I don't think anybody. I think I get that from my mom, by the way. Scan the QR code. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com. Find out where the food trucks are. Order lobster tacos, clam chowder soup. You can never go wrong with. That's my combination. If you're feeling on the little heavy side and you're trying to, take care of yourself, order a side of tots. Let them know Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our Lumberjack, Blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
All right, we're back on a Monday morning. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. We're live here at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. Come by, check out their inventory. They're fully stocked, lowest prices. They don't care about anything. They'll get you in a car if you need one. That's their commitment. That's their pledge to you. No better people to work with. Number one in quality and customer service. Jeff, your mock draft, I've seen it, so I can't act like I'm surprised. But I've seen it. Walk me through it and tell me why I should give you a higher grade than what people probably gave me.
So I'll let the people decide. So I mixed things up a little bit. I traded back.
With who?
With Houston. Now,
let's see it.
Is it realistic? Probably not, but I traded back with Houston to 12. And this is my problem with my mock draft. And I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going to keep it 100. I didn't get as much assets as I probably should have. I should have gotten. I got the 33rd pick and a third-round pick next year to go back 6 slots. Should I have gotten a first? Probably. I got a second and a third. Moved back to 12. Cansey's there. That's the obvious pick. I would have rather had Kansey than any of the corners at 6 personally. So I take Kansey at 12. Now, here's where things get a little spicy. At 18, Beydoun Robinson. Now, let me explain this for a second. We like David Montgomery, right? Actually, PFF, he broke a record in college for the most broken tackles. You know who broke his record? Beydoun Robinson. So if we love David Montgomery's ability to break tackles, here's a guy at 18. If you're going to argue any running back in this draft, it's Beydoun Robinson. He's a first-round pick. Now, is he worth 18? Will he go in the 20s? Who cares? To use Adam's point, if you're taking a guy at 18 and he works out like Beydoun Robinson, it's worth the pick. So you got Beydoun with this offensive line.
I hate you.
You have David Montgomery. Listen, y'all love David Montgomery. He can't be the only running back. And DeAndre, I don't trust enough to be the only running back. He's on his last year of his deal. I'm assuming they're not going to pick up, his option or extend him. So you have Beydoun Robinson for the next 5+ years. You look at Goff in the history with Goff, when has he had success with a run game? Now, can we give him a run game? Can we give him weapons? Can we give him one of the best offensive lines in the league? That sounds like a recipe for success. So I love the Beydoun pick. I've done this before in one of my mock drafts. He's by far the best running back in this draft. So I get him at 18. You have a 5th-year option on him. Now, 33, I got in the trade with Houston. You know who I had to go with. Emmanuel Forbes, 33rd. Jack Campbell actually went late in the first round, to tell you
Shut
that. Yeah,
up.
he did. Yeah, he was gone. So Forbes, by far, I was going to take Jack Campbell, I was deciding, but he wasn't even there. So I took Emmanuel Forbes, and I wanted an edge rusher. You took Van Ness at 18. I think great value, 48 for Uzomah. Again, productive edge rusher. You can come in right away and contribute. So I like the pick. Now I address the linebacker position. Dian Henley. Again, you can make an argument. It's Jack Campbell, and then you got some Trenton Simpson, and then you got your Dian Henleys of the world. I took him at 55. You take a linebacker. Now, 81, Jordan Battle. And let me explain this for a second. I took a safety. And the reason why I like Jordan Battle so much is because he was elite in coverage, had an 85.2 coverage grade on PFF. And also the part of it you have to understand is he's not just a safety. He played in the slot. He played in the box. He played a deep safety. He lined up at corner, too. Hell, he lined up on the D-line, too. They blitzed him. Jordan Battle can do a lot of things. So you have C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You have Emmanuel Mosley. These guys on 1-year deals. So if you're telling me, Jeff, why are we taking a safety? That's why. Unless you're guaranteeing me you're going to sign Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to an extension, you're at least taking some guy for reassurance, right? Tracy Walker coming off an Achilles injury. You get another guy in the room. You can move around. A jack of all trades, if you will. So we'll go down. After Jordan Battle, I took a guard. I think guard's important. Chandler Zavala, he met with the Lions. He's always in my mock drafts. Listen, Graham Glasgow, he's fine. 1-year deal. You're going to need a little more stability. So why not Chandler Zavala in the 5th round? Just ugly in the run game. He's nasty. So I like Chandler a lot. You get him in the 5th round. 6th round, I went with Clayton Tune here. I took a flyer on a quarterback late. He's my favorite quarterback late. Listen, shout out to Lucas. He got me hooked on Clayton Tune. I don't want Aiden O'Connell. I don't want Stenson Bennett. I'll take Clayton Tune. He can at least beat out Nate Sudfeld. Now, what it doesn't show here, because we don't have enough slots to show all the picks, is I had 194, and I took Bryce Ford Wheaton. So I took a wide receiver. He ran in the 4.3s, 6'3", 6'4", big body. Kind of replace a little bit, not DJ Chark's production, but you get a receiver built similarly. So here's my draft. How many defensive or offensive players? I took a quarterback, a guard, a running back, and a wide receiver. The rest were all defensive players. Give me a grade. Trading back. I got a 3rd-round pick for next year as well. So I got assets. Still got Cansey. And again, if you don't like the Beydoun pick, that's fine, but you have to at least understand where I'm coming from. The reason why I took Beydoun is to shore up this run game. Just because you look at the offensive line, you look at Swift, you look at Montgomery, Jeff, we don't need a running back. You could take one late in the draft. Will he be as good as Bijan Robinson? No, he won't. So there's the reason why I took Bijan Robinson. I think he's an excellent player. Could come in right away. Imagine having a backfield with Bijan, David Montgomery, and DeAndre Swift. A 3-headed monster. You don't have to depend on DeAndre. If he's hurt, fine. Bijan, step in. We can rely on Bijan more. And in today's NFL, they don't just use, it's not typically bell cow backs. Very rarely teams use that. You get 1 to 2 running backs. What a backfield they have now with Bijan Robinson. I think it's worth the pick. Give me your grade. If you hate it, that's fine. Emmanuel Forbes at 33. I love it. What do you think? What grade would you give me? Even if you hate the running back in the first round, can you get at least the philosophy of where I'm coming from? To add him to this offensive line, this backfield for Jared Goff, there was games last year where DeAndre laid an egg and Jamal laid an egg.
You want me to go pick by pick, and then I'll give you an overall grade?
Give me, yeah. Go pick by pick.
A+ at 12. B at 18. B at 33. C at 48. A at 55. B+ at 81. And honestly, after the 5th round, I don't really care.
Yeah, guard a quarterback and a wide receiver. It is what it is.
I'm going to give you a B. And contingency. I'm going to give you a B, but the upside of this board is A+. Because you're getting a stalwart running back. You're getting, at pick 48, a defensive end who could be something really a lot of people are not sure of in the NFL, which is a super athletic, dynamic player. You kind of already have it in James Houston, but I guess you're looking at upside for this kid. Emmanuel Forbes at 33. I know you love him. But that's a first-round pick, basically. That's a first-round pick, and I would have loved to have seen who's on the board, but I can't fault you too much there. Easy says he gives you a C for that reach at 6.
What? I traded back. I went to 12.
I got you. I know. That's why I said it.
Easy. I love you. You got to read, man.
The Bijan thing, the problem I have.
Yep.
Okay? Money. Let's talk money. You paid David Montgomery how much?
It was 3 for 18.
Okay.
6-year annually.
You're going to pay the 18th overall pick roughly between $15 and $18 million over his first contract, okay? And that's before the 5th-year option. So you're looking at 4 years, $15 to $18 million for the 18th overall pick, okay? DeAndre Swift, I agree with you. Not reliable at all. Even if it's a contract year, if he goes down, is it really a problem? In theory, no, because you signed David Montgomery and you expect him to be there. But I saw this offense with a running back in Jamal Williams who was a 1-yard-a-carry guy, who was useless outside of the Seattle game, who never showed any explosion. I saw an offense put out a top 4 product all year long with an average running game. That they were only good, by the way, in short yard situations. Which, cool. Great. But the Bijan thing is... Let me ask you this. If you have an all-pro running back or an all-pro edge rusher, which one improves your team in the next 5 years?
You said an all-pro edge?
All-pro edge or all-pro running back?
I would say edge.
All-pro
Going
running
off
back
our rankings,
or all-pro corner at 18 for the next 5 years?
All-pro corner.
That's my problem. Is I don't hate Bijan. You're right, dude. He's amazing.
But here's the pushback on that. I didn't have an all-pro corner to select from at 18. Honestly, the options I weren't as... Bijan was the best player available. Now, Lucas Van Ness, he was there, thought about it. You took him. That's fine. I went with Bijan. But Bijan could easily be a top 15 pick. He could go 10 to the Eagles for all I know. So for 18, to me, it's still value. And it's not about the running back in the first round. I get that philosophy. But what about Bijan Robinson in the first round? Is he good enough to be worthy of a first-round pick? I would say yes. So if you think he should be in the 20s, why not 18? That's what I'm not understanding. The run game is shored up. You don't have to just rely on Swift and Montgomery. I think it adds another dynamic element to your offense. Even though the offense, you're right, was exceptional last year, doesn't hurt to add to it. Doesn't hurt to add to it, especially the best running back prospect, over the last couple of years. So I love it, but it is what it is. Had to keep switching. By the way, Easy's talking about trading back. We do these every week. You got to mix up the scenarios here. So this one, I traded back to 12, got some future assets. There you go. I'd be happy with either of these drafts personally, yours and mine, but the people have spoken.
All right. Well, look, let's take a break. When we get back, I want to stay engaged with everybody in the chat. So we'll answer a few questions, take some comments, and then we'll move on. One of the things we've talked about, and we've both done actually in this mock, is the idea of trading back.
Yep.
All right. So I want to talk about trading back, moving up, moving back. What's the better option for the Lions, or do they stay put? And if there's one thing I think we can all agree on is Brad Holmes is unpredictable, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to really think this through. What's the option realistically for the Lions? Is it stay put at 6 and move up from 18, vice versa? I don't know. Let's have that conversation next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Fowling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out, fowlingwarehouse.com.
By the way, I did not enjoy April Fool's this year at all. I didn't. It was all predictable. Aaron Rodgers retiring. The Lions signing Cam Newton. Like, come on, guys. I thought we'd be more creative, but, what are you going to do? It's a down year for everybody in society.
It really is.
Oh, man.
You know how many people hit me up, by the way, about the Cam Newton stuff? You see that?
Thought it was real?
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Which, again, I had to respond, no, it's not real. But the fact that was even reported and people were like, Cam Newton. April Fools, fellas. April Fools.
All right, well, look, here's what I want to do with everybody today, okay? We got about 15 minutes-ish, more like 14, 13 minutes. All of you in the chat, leave your comments. Jeff and I will get to them. What do you think the Lions should do? And not even what you think they should do. What do you think they will do? Do you see them moving up from 6? Do you see them trading back from 6? Moving up from 18, moving back from 18? I'll tell you what I think. I think the only way the Lions move up is up from 18. I see them staying put at 6, getting the guy they want, and giving up a future 3 and a 2 to move up those 4 or 5 spots, 6 spots, and them securing, I think, a Christian Gonzalez, a Joey Porter, a Devon Witherspoon. You take a pick of the bunch. I don't really care at this point. That, to me, I could see happening. Do I see Brad trading up from 18 to get a wide receiver or a quarterback? No, I don't. So I want you guys to walk me through what you think will happen. Jeff, that's my thought. I think they stay put at 6. I think it takes a hell of an offer for them to move off of it. And then at 18, 18's tricky. I think you're not going to be able to get one of the corners you want at 18. I could see them moving up to 14 or 13.
Right.
Or 12 with Houston even. I could see that.
And there's a lot of different scenarios. Like, as much as we do these mock drafts, how many times have you done them and there's a quarterback at 6 available? Most of the time, Will Levis.
Always.
So the Lions are in an interesting position. The question is, what does Arizona do? Because if Arizona is willing to trade that 3rd overall pick, I think it's worth the conversation to at least ask yourself, do you want Will Anderson? Are you willing to trade up to 3 to get him? Now, there could be a team that jumps Indianapolis to get a quarterback. They could trade up. Arizona trades back. Maybe Will Anderson is there for you. I'm assuming Jalen Carter will be there for you. The Brad's going to have to ask himself this. How many teams are going to be calling him to trade up to 6 to take a quarterback? There's so many different scenarios. I think the most likely one to happen is Arizona stays put. They take Will Anderson. And at 6, you have Will Levis at your disposal, or Anthony Richardson. So now you're in an interesting position. You can, talk up these quarterbacks, and maybe Atlanta, maybe Tennessee, maybe, one of the teams in the teens want to trade up and get a quarterback, and maybe you feel comfortable, and Brad does as well, with the pool of talent that's currently there. Maybe you can trade back, get a future first, get a future second, any of these assets. I think that's the most likely option. Unless Brad wants to stay put at 6 and take the best player available. To me, it's not about – you look at the players that are going to be there at 6, it's not a significant drop-off. I think Jalen Carter, you can make that argument if he's there. Yes, I mean, talent-wise, it might be a drop-off. But let's say Carter goes to 5. Let's say Carter goes 5 to Seattle, and you're telling me I have Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez, Devon Witherspoon, these players. To me, the obvious move would be to trade back, because if you trade back to 8 – 11, whatever it is, you're still going to be able to get a similar tier of player and more assets. So to me, the move is to trade back. But if Will Anderson's in the picture, and you could try and trade up to get him, I think that's worth the conversation. I just don't think it's possible. And I put the poll up, trade up or trade back. 66% would rather trade back and get assets than trade up, give up assets to get Will Anderson. And listen, I can see where they're coming from. I really can.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. For the Lions to move off the 6th overall pick, what you're telling them is, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of assets.
Right.
And we're going to ask you, Detroit, to pass on A, an option at quarterback, B, any edge rusher available at that spot, or C, any defensive tackle that you love at that spot. So basically, your option, the luxury of picking 6th right now in this version of the draft is you're going to end up with somebody you probably really want. Yeah, do you want Will Anderson? Unlikely. Do you want Jalen Carter? Maybe they don't. I don't know. But they're probably going to be there. And that's the value of the Lions pick right now at 6. Go ahead.
Right. And also, I'm going to break this news because JB just sent us this post.
What?
This is per ML Football. It says, the Tennessee Titans have been exploring options to trade up for the 3rd overall pick, which is owned by the Cardinals. Per Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network, it seems that new Tennessee general manager
Why would they do that?
Could be eyeing his quarterback of the future.
Why would Tennessee do that? They drafted Malik Willis. They're fine.
Oh, gosh.
They drafted the best quarterback in NFL history. They're fine. When did I miss the memo?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you're right. They do. Did
I miss something?
Listen, they got their quarterbacks. They got the quarterback now.
God, but I swear to God.
Right on cue.
God. Every single one of you, by the way, last year that drove me crazy over the Malik Willis stuff, I just want you to know there's still up. I lost brain cells in dealing with you guys, okay? I should sue all of you for having to deal with that. Not even 12 months later, they're going to trade up to draft a quarterback? That's who you wanted at number 2 overall? Fuck you. All of you. No wonder I'm stressed. No wonder I have heart problems. Because of you guys.
But here's the interesting part, and this is how it pertains to the Lions. If the Cardinals trade that 3rd pick, that would mean 1, 2, 3, and 4 might be all quarterbacks.
Presumably.
You
don't know that.
Assuming the Colts take a quarterback, which I think they will.
I think the Colts should move for Lamar. And then the
I
Ravens
agree
should
with
take
you.
Will Anderson.
I agree with you.
That's the move in my opinion.
But let's look at how it's currently put. If the first 4 quarterbacks are off the board through 1 through 4, you have Seattle and you have the Lions. Now, assuming Seattle would take Will Anderson and not even blink twice, I think you're put in a similar situation. But that makes things interesting because you get the quarterbacks all cleared up. You're probably not going to be able to trade back because the quarterbacks are gone. I don't think a team will trade up for one of the players left. So is there a chance Will Anderson falls? Probably not. But it does make things interesting.
Okay, let's work under the theory that Tennessee moves up, okay? I think that devalues the Lions pick.
Oh, yes,
now the quarterbacks will be gone, right?
Absolutely.
But it does allow you to take one of the 3-4 best defensive players available in this draft. Will Anderson's... I just don't see Will Anderson making it to the Lions.
Yeah, Seattle, I think,
you're
would grab
basically
him.
saying that 4 quarterbacks go, and Seattle is sitting up there in their front office are like, duh, let's take Tyree Wilson. Like, there's no chance, right?
There's
no
100% chance he's going to Seattle.
There's no way he passes. So what I would like to see, what you could sell me on, is the Lions package a future second and a future third to move up one spot if it meant they got Will Anderson. You could sell me on that. You could sell me on giving them 6, Minnesota's 2, and a future 3. I would do that deal right now if it meant Will Anderson at 6, or at 5, excuse me. I would do that deal.
He's worth it.
That deal I would do. Moving up for that, sign me up. And I still have capital to move up from 18 to 11 or 10 or 12 and get Kalijah Kancey.
Right.
So I'm still in business. That's the hypothetical I want to take a break and talk about. How do you acquire Will Anderson? If Tennessee trades for that 3rd overall pick, I think there has to be a serious conversation about moving up to 5. I really do. Let's take a break. When we get back, trading up for Will Anderson, why Tennessee could make it very easy for you and literally cost effective.
Yep.
We'll do that next, but before we go, I got to tell you about my friends at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. They're mad at me because I haven't gotten a haircut or my beard trimmed in a while, and they're going to have to wait because I'm growing it out. Sorry, guys and gals. Having said that, Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 10 to 8, 7 days a week, walk in anytime, no appointment necessary. They're awesome stylists who take care of you like they always take care of me, so get to a local Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Hey, it's Sean Jordan from the Sports Marketing Agency, and SMA wouldn't be who we are without our amazing partners.
Thank you so much, Sean. At Detroit Wayne, we want to serve as a resource for you and your families. We offer mental health services, substance use disorder services throughout our communities, and we want to be that source and resource within the community.
If you or a loved one are suffering from a mental health or substance abuse issue, please don't hesitate to call 1-800-241-4949.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
All right, we're back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com. If you missed the show live, you can always download the podcast after the fact. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll be able to find the morning show. Leave Jeff a 5-star review. His life depends on it. He's going to be fired if you don't, so please, guys.
This is new information to me. This is new information.
Take care of Jeff. But,
please.
But here's what we're going to do, okay?
Yep.
Will Anderson. We just got the news, Tennessee looking to trade up to 3. Let's say they do. It's going to go quarterback, likely quarterback at 4, or if Baltimore and the Colts, let's say, do a deal, then Will Anderson probably goes at 4.
Do you think the Ravens, if they trade to that 4 spot, they wouldn't take a quarterback?
I don't think they would.
Especially if Lamar's gone?
No, it's Baltimore. They know their shit. They're going to work with a backup for 1 year. They're going to position themselves next year to take a quarterback.
Which would be smart.
And they're going to acquire draft capital.
Now, that's a good organization. That's
what a smart
rather than reaching.
That's what a smart organization does.
Yeah.
The stupid ones trade up to the 4th overall pick and draft the 4th quarterback off the board. Way to go, guys. Huge common sense there. You got the 4th one available.
Well, the Colts got to be scared right now because if
that's like having 4 girls lined up against the wall. One's a 10, one's a 9, one's a 8, one's a 5. You have the 4th overall pick. Your buddy, at first, he takes a chance on the 9. He thinks there's hope. Second dude hits the 10. Third guy takes the 8. You know what you're left with?
The 5.
The 5.
Yeah, the 5.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Listen, yeah. You ain't wrong.
Let's imagine 4 quarterbacks go 1 through 4, okay?
Okay.
I think Seattle, you get on the phone and you tell them, look, we'll give you an additional second. We'll give you a future 3. We're willing to move up all that for 1 pick. Let's do it. I think Will Anderson's the only person you can talk me off of not getting Kancey for. I'll take Kancey over Tyree. I'll take Kancey over Jalen Carter.
All the corners. Gonzalez
I'm
at
not
6.
taking a corner at 6. Absolutely not.
I'm not a huge fan of that either.
I really like some of the corners. Not taking them at 6. Not doing that shit again.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So if you're going to convince me, moving up to 5 by giving up 6, a 2, and a 3, I'm on board. Submit the ticket, Will Anderson. And I think everybody's happy.
Will Anderson and Aiden Hutchinson.
Wow.
NFC North.
That's firepower.
Yeah, the NFC, not even just the NFC North. That's
firepower.
That's a terrifying duo.
Joe says, I still think Seattle says no. You know, that's a very good point. Basically, Seattle is sitting there at 5 saying, we get the best defensive player off the board.
Yeah.
At 5, why would we move? That's why you offer 6. They're only trading back a spot. You're giving them a 2nd and a 3rd rounder. I think that is a very lucrative deal if I'm the Seattle Seahawks. You're basically saying, all right, we don't get Will Anderson, but we get Tyree Wilson, or we may be in love with Jalen Carter, or maybe we love a corner, or maybe we love Kalijah Kent. Who knows who they love? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just know I don't think it's blasphemous to say that Seattle would consider trading out of that pick for Will Anderson if it meant they could acquire multiple early picks. I think it's very fair, especially if they're only trading back a spot. It's not like they're moving to 13 or 10 or 9 where, a few players are going to come off the board. What do you think?
So let me read some of these comments and get your thoughts on it. Lucas JP says, most mocks have Kancey falling past 18 to around 25 to 31. You could definitely get him with our 2nd pick. Can you explain that? The risk of just assuming guys are going to be there at 18. Lucas said, most mocks have Kancey falling past 18 around 25 to 31. You could definitely get him with our 2nd pick. What's the risk in that? Just being like, oh, he'll be there at 18. And if he's not, you're screwed. Like, it kind of goes back to what you said. If you like a player, you take him. It
doesn't matter where you take him.
Now,
if he works,
especially, and again, you have to get this straight too. It's not just any player; it's a position of need. It's defensive tackle. Kancey, to me, the 2nd best defensive tackle in the draft. I think it's worth a discussion for him to just assume he'll be there at 18.
I find it very difficult to believe that the Jets, the Patriots, the Packers, the Commanders, and the Steelers are going to sit there and say, we don't need the best defensive tackle on the board. I'd be shocked. Would I love for him to be available at 18? Don't get me wrong. If you told me Kalijah Kancey would be available at 18, I would just leave an empty board right now and I would just have Kalijah at 18. Lock it in. Lock it in. Thank you very much. I don't believe he'll be there. And if he is, great. Nobody will be happier than me, guys. I just don't really see that happening.
It's a risk. Peaceful Tim says teams have traded up for positions other than quarterback before, just saying. Especially Will Anderson. I mean, he was
I'm just saying, if I owned an NFL team and my GM moved up 9 spots in an NFL draft to take a defensive end, I would go to the car, grab a revolver.
Oh, God. Don't.
And I'd give him the choice.
Don't.
I'd give him the choice. Okay? We're not doing that game. And if I was a GM and I wanted to keep my job in the NFL and I wanted to have a long, successful career in the NFL, trading up 9 spots for a defensive end is career suicide. It's not worth it. In a draft where people are trying to move up in the top 4 to get their hands on a quarterback, even if I don't agree with who they want to take, no, absolutely not. Unreal.
I love this comment. Tyler says, WoodwardSports.com, if history is an indicator, look up Ed Oliver, similar to Kancey, and he went to pick 8 to the Bills. For all the people that question his size and height.
What's the point? Am I missing something?
No, that Ed Oliver, similar height and weight, went 8.
Okay.
So basically saying, don't be surprised, Kancey goes top 10. Like, people act like he's not worthy of a top 10 pick.
He's the 4th highest rated defensive lineman coming up.
And the 2nd best defensive tackle, and just so happens the best one has a ton of question marks.
And might fall on board.
Character issues. Not question marks on the field, but character issues. That's a big one. And I still think Jalen Carter is the best defensive tackle. I would take him at 6. But if the Lions say no thanks, can't hate it. Grit says, woodwardsports.com, Cansey will be there at 18 and Holmes will pass. Adam will lose his mind.
That'd be interesting.
I would love to see that
I would be
on the draft show.
I would be floored during the draft if that were to happen. I would. I would be genuinely very surprised. But let's look at last year's draft. Let's look at last year's draft and talk about positional value. Last year was the year of the wide receiver, right? You had Olave, Drake London, Jamison Williams, Garrett Wilson, all these
Jahan
guys.
Dotson
Jahan Dotson all go in the top 16, right?
Yeah.
Which left players like Trent McDuffie, Quay Walker, which left players like Tyler Linderbaum, one of the best offensive linemen that were coming out, and the best center, to be available at pick 24, or 25. You had players like Devin Lloyd fall to 27.
Which I still can't believe.
Devontae Wyatt fell to 28. George Karlaftis, 30. He was a projected top 10 pick, right? So, again, it happens, and it can happen, but let's not use the offensive year. Let's go to the class where Trevor Lawrence was drafted, because I think that is very similar to this one. In terms of all the quarterbacks are going to go early. Everybody wants a quarterback. Cool. So you had 3 quarterbacks go in the first 3 picks, right? Which left Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Penei Sewell to follow that up. All have worked out very well. Now let's go to the defensive players that were taken after. J.C. Horn, very good. Patrick Surtain, very good. And when Devontae Smith, a quarterback, Micah Parsons, an offensive lineman, Rashawn Slater, another offensive lineman, quarterback, and now let's see the defensive players that fell because of it. Greg Newsome II. You had Gregory Rousseau. You had Tyson Campbell. You had Christian Barmore. All these players fell to the late first round, end of the second, or early second, excuse me. Do I think this is a draft where you could see that happening with Kalijah Cansey, where he can fall to 18? Be my guest. Be my guest. And if the Lions pass on him, I would be, again, shocked. He fits. And may I remind all of you, who's on the active roster for the Detroit Lions right now? Anybody? Anybody know at the defensive tackle position who is on the active roster? It's Aleem McNeil and Isaiah Buggs only. And Dan Campbell said, I believe it was Dan Campbell, or was it? No, it was
quote?
Brad Holmes.
Oh, I'll tell you.
It was Brad Holmes that said Isaiah Buggs played way too many snaps last year, 755. We don't expect him to play that same amount.
What does that mean?
Between Buggs, McNeil, and probably somebody I like to think you're going to draft, that's got to change. I just don't see him passing on him at 18. That would be insane.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
That would be insane. But anything can happen.
And I'm not in love with the rest of the D tackles. If I'm being 100% honest with you, I like Mozzie.
Siaki, no.
Yeah, Siaki.
Mozzie Smith, I'm not drafting. No.
So again, Cansey and Carter, you need a defensive tackle. They got to get one of those guys.
Yeah, you have John Kaminsky as well. You have Aiden Hutchinson who lines up on the interior. We've seen Aquara line up on the interior as well. Again, these guys are going to share a lot of snaps, but to me, you're missing one key thing on that defensive line, and that is an interior pass rusher. Kalijah Cansey checks all the boxes of an interior pass rusher.
Speaking of interior pass rush, Tyler, WoodwardSports.com, he says, I just can't see him fall past pick 20 because of his skill set. Just like Beydoun, the cream of the crop for running backs, pass rushing defensive tackles are razor thin.
Yep.
So there you go.
Siaki Ika equals Vita Vea 2.0. Ray Allen, that is
Wait, what was the comment?
Then he should go top 10.
wait, what was the comment?
If he's Vita Vea 2.0, he should go in the top 10.
Oh, Vita Vea 2.0, yeah.
I would be floored.
Lining Vita Vea up at fullback.
Let's take a break. When we get back, let's wrap up the show. Before we get to Mailbag, we'll have some fun in the next segment. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Let me tell you about them. Cintron, the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. And right now they have an exclusive offer for Woodward Sports fans for their limited edition Red Wings 6-pack. Only $15 plus free shipping. Head to drinkcintron.com/Woodward and try it today.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach Chili Peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Three NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there.
Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. We're back. Morning Woodward Show here, Monday, April 3rd. It's 9:40, climbing down the second hour. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff Iafrate.
Show's flying by.
It is flying by. It's been a great show so far. Even though a little bit of a delayed start, we bounced back. It's been a great show. Appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Like the video on YouTube if you haven't already. Check out woodwardsports.com. Give us a 5-star review on the podcast. Personally, me and Adam would love it. But I do want to bring this up because I saw this floating on Lions Twitter yesterday, and to me it's significant. Pride of Detroit tweeted this out. Both the Vikings and Bears wanted to sign David Montgomery in free agency, but the Lions were the one who landed him. And I just want to say this too. I'm a little lost here because according to Micah Parsons, I thought nobody wanted to play in Detroit. I have to check my notes here. Yeah. I thought nobody wanted to play in Detroit. But 2 NFC North teams, obviously the Bears wanted to bring back David Montgomery. The Vikings wanted to bring in David Montgomery. We don't know what the future of Dalvin Cook holds. But to me, this is significant, and I know we've been harping on this for quite some time about the culture shift, about now Detroit becoming an attractive free agency destination. But it's not just David Montgomery. Let's talk about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, right? It's a lot of free agency. When players sign somewhere, a lot of factors come into play, right? The weather, the money, connections. Are you going to play for former coaches? The situation. Like for David Montgomery to look at the Detroit Lions, what do you think he looked at first? I'll give you a hint. It's the offensive line. Looked at the offensive line, looked at the offense, looked at what they're building, right? Detroit is on the rise. They're a playoff team now. They should be. To me, this is significant because in past years, if you're David Montgomery, you're in free agency, you're getting a lot of offers, especially in the division in which you played with the Bears. In the past, it would have been the Bears or the Vikings. But this is where the tide's turning. He chose the Detroit Lions. To me, that's significant. It speaks a lot to what Brad's building.
I don't. You know why? I think it would be more significant if he didn't choose the Lions. I would question his mental state. I would question who is around him. I would question his family, his agent. Let's see. The bottom 5 offensive lines in the NFL, Minnesota and Chicago, or we can go over to Detroit, top 5 offensive line.
Yeah.
And they made Jamal Williams look decent.
Broke Barry's record.
If Jamal Williams can run for 1,000 yards at 4 yards a clip and run in 17 goal line touchdowns, I can run for 2,000 yards and 34 touchdowns, talent-wise, as David Montgomery.
Tyler says, I think he saw Jamal's production and saw the opportunity. Yeah. You see Jamal break Barry's record over 1,000 yards. I don't think David Montgomery has had 1,000 yards in his career. I would have to double-check that. I don't think he has. I think he's had about 800. He's been floating around. So you're absolutely correct. You look at the production, the potential, the team, who you're playing with. Oh, no, he had 1,000 once. Excuse me. 1,000 once David Montgomery did, but the rest it's been 800, 800, 800. Hasn't had over double-digit touchdowns, though. Here you go. You're going to get carries at the 1-yard line, at the 5-yard line. You're going to have a ton of opportunities. So it is. It's a huge, huge opportunity for David Montgomery. I'm with you. I'm not, shocked for the situation, but for guys coming to Detroit, and typically in years past they would choose elsewhere, to me that's significant. Answer 14, woodwardsports.com says, Montgomery is going to be a big upgrade for show. And then we have some guys talking about the Cansey topic. Displaced Lions fan says, Cansey will be a great run defender. When he was asked not to be a disruptor in the backfield, or how to be a disruptor in the backfield, he was much better versus the run per PFF and NFL
He's
Stock
underrated
Exchange.
Against the run. I'm not saying he's a game changer. He's obviously an elite pass rusher. He's not an elite run stopper. But that's what I want him for. I want to be able to pressure the quarterback up the middle. I want to be able to field one of the best defensive fronts in the NFC.
That's what the NFC
matters
looks like.
to me.
Eagles, 49ers.
It matters to me.
Look at those.
It matters to
look
the
at those
Niners.
teams.
They went and got John Hargraves. Now, granted, he's a physical specimen. Obviously, he checks off all the boxes you want. But to me, somebody attacked me recently on Twitter comparing this.
Attacking you?
No. Tagging.
Oh, tagging.
Jesus
I was going to say,
Christ.
not surprised by that.
Thanks, Jeff. Makes me feel a lot better. Anyways, he mentioned, this reminds him, this meaning Carter Cansey, reminds him of Sue and Gerald McCoy. Now, both of them were physical specimens. Gerald McCoy, a little undersized compared to Sue. Sue, a lot of question marks about his, let's just call it what it is, his attitude issue. And it boiled onto the field. And I know we all want to remember Ndamukong Suh for all of the amazing times. I loved him. He's the only Lions player I've ever bought a jersey for, by the way, in my lifetime. Phenomenal player, was all-pro multiple times for Detroit. But the stomping and the unnecessary roughness and the all the taunting, all the penalties he accumulated were just not worth it, man. They weren't. And Gerald McCoy was quiet in Tampa Bay. Had a solid 8, 10-year, 12-year career. Was all-pro, Pro Bowler, and who really missed out? I would say the Lions did, because one decided to stay and the other left.
Right.
So who really won that deal, right? Interesting. Very interesting. But, look, at the end of the day, whether you like Cansey, Carter, I don't care. I'm not going to tell you who I know they will pick. I don't. I'm telling you who I think they should take. It's a big difference. And right now, yeah, if you ask me between Carter and Cansey, I'm taking Cansey. And I'm not hesitating at all. I'm very concerned for Jalen Carter. I'm very concerned about what I'm going to get on the field. It's just how it is.
What about this one? Apex Predator, Cansey at 6. Then do you go get the best corner available, or do you draft a different position with the second first round pick?
I'm open to trading up. I'm open to trading up to like 14 or 15 and snagging a Christian Gonzalez if available, Devon Witherspoon if available.
One of those guys.
I think Porter's going to Pittsburgh. I think that's just going to happen, right? The football gods are going to make that happen.
You lose Cam Sutton. I could see them drafting a corner or an offensive lineman, either one.
I wouldn't hate the idea of trading up 2-3 spots to get a cornerback. Yeah. I wouldn't hate it. Would you? You could throw that poll in the chat. Would you be opposed to trading up 2-3 spots to land Christian Gonzalez or Devon Witherspoon? I don't hate it. I don't. You can sell me on that. I don't mind that at all. I don't. Big Con says, Adam, grade my draft. Carter at 6, Van Ness at 18, Drew Sanders at 48, Cansey at 55. Yeah, you used the PFN mock, didn't you? Yeah, I can't even give you an answer. I don't know how the Pro Football Network releases a mock draft simulator that has top 10 picks going in the second, third round.
I know.
I've even seen Devon Witherspoon fall to 41 in those PFN mocks. Makes no sense. All right, let's take a break. When we get back, mailbag time. Everybody drop your questions in the chat. Jeff and I will come back and answer all of them. Let's have some fun to end the show. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Oh, I got a defense for you that's worth taking at 6. It's Guardian Alarm. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's not only been proven to work, but by people that have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
All right, we're back. 9:50, wrapping up the show. Mailbag time. This is going to be fun. Adam, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate. Follow Jeff on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you send him your nudes.
No.
Jeff is requesting.
No.
Man, woman, doesn't matter.
No, don't do that.
Mixed. Jeff
Don't
is
do
open
that.
to any and everything.
Please don't do that. Please.
WoodwardSports.com. Let's have some fun. Mailbag time, Jeff. We'll start with the first questions. Mailbag. Did you guys see Adam ranks the top 5 NFC quarterbacks? We'd love to see Adam's response. Who? What?
You want me to pull it up?
Who are we talking about? Adam who? Adam Thielen?
No, it's Adam. It's literally his name's Adam Ranks, I think.
Adam Ranks? Is that his name?
Adam Rank. Yeah, he's
Adam
a Bears
Rank.
fan. Who do you guess he has number 1?
Justin Fields. Right?
It's got to be the stupidest.
Can you 906 Detroit?
Okay, I'll read off the list.
Oh, you have it?
You're looking at it. Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr.
Okay, guys, look. Can I get the camera for a second? Read that list off one more time. Justin Fields.
Number 1, Fields. Number 2, Hurts. Number 3, Prescott. Number 4, Kirk Cousins. Number 5, Derek Carr. No Jared Goff.
You know, it is people like Adam Rank.
He's a Bears fan, by the way.
It is the people like Adam Rank that are the ones that work in labs that leak COVID.
Oh, jeez.
Are the ones that start wars in countries we have no business being in. Are the ones that walk by homeless people on the side and kick them. That's the kind of person Adam Rank is. To have Justin Fields look, if you want to leave Jared Goff out of your top 5 because of Dak and Derek Carr, we can have a conversation.
But over Hurts?
To have Justin Fields at 1, and he's never thrown for 3,000 yards in his NFL career.
Smoking something.
Excuse you?
King Tommy asks, Mailbag, if Anderson goes 3 and Carter goes 5, would you consider taking the offensive tackle from Northwestern, Peter Skronsky, and moving up to 12, 13 to take Yancey?
If he's available, sure. If you can guarantee me he's available, sure. I'm open to that.
I almost took a tackle in my mock yesterday, but I didn't. So I can see the philosophy of it. I can. Especially with Taylor Decker getting older. Gary says, Mailbag, according to Spotrac, we still have about $10 million in cap space. Is there another, that's after signing draft picks. Is there another free agent worth picking up?
Depends on who you draft. And if you're going to do it before the draft, I would say you are giving away what your draft intentions are. And you may have a deal on the table right now, but you're not going to make it public because you don't want to give away your draft strategy. Who knows? Who knows?
Mailbag, Lonnie asks, should your first-round picks be day 1 starters? Appreciate it.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to the rule, but in most teams draft first-round picks with the expectation that they're going to start. Now, if you're a team like the Lions and you take a corner in the first round, well, that takes a lot of pressure off the kid, and it allows him to develop his game. Same thing with an edge rusher. You take an edge rusher, you can bring him along throughout the year. There's no real rush. Depends on the situation, depends on the team. Did Hawkinson stay in Minnesota? I don't know if he even signed a new contract yet.
No, he didn't. He's in Minnesota, but they're going to have to extend him soon. This season, probably. Punch God says, Mailbag, if Richardson is there at 18, are you taking him?
Say it again.
If Richardson is there at 18, are you taking him? There you go.
That's what I think of your question.
My question is over who? Like who? Like so, if all the
I'd rather get fined by the NFL and the pick be taken from me than draft Richardson at 18.
You take Jake Moody at 18 over?
No. I mean, that's being ridiculous. And I'm being dramatic, obviously. But no, why?
It's worth
Just
consideration.
Why?
I would say.
And I don't think he's going to be there. I think he's going top 4. He just is. Somebody fell in love over this past weekend. They went home. They put his poster on the wall. You know what they did with their meat. We all know what happens at night. It's just the reality.
It has nothing to do. Listen, it doesn't matter about Richardson. I'm just not a fan of the tape. So I would say no. But again, I can get the philosophy.
I just don't know why I have to force myself to take a quarterback.
You don't.
I don't.
So
I don't have to make that decision.
You don't have to.
Mailbag, can Will Anderson fall to 6? No. I just don't think 2 NFL GMs are going to pass on him. If the Cardinals trade out, like we talked earlier, and 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4, why would Seattle pass on Will Anderson? Why? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't.
And again, if he does, great. I mean, nobody would be happier than all of us here in Detroit. But really, it's just very unlikely. Very unlikely. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I'm just looking at some of these.
Michael Penix or Shedeur Sanders. Definitely Shedeur Sanders, because Michael Penix, I believe, has torn his ACL twice. Not a fan. Big arm.
Yeah.
Just he won't translate to the NFL.
This is Shedeur's.
And Shedeur, he's playing at Colorado.
Now it's his
we're
first real
hyping
test.
him up. We'll see.
He's in the Pac-12. So we'll see.
We'll see how he does.
What was the question I just read?
Go for it.
Mailbag. Oh, this is a mock draft scenario. What would you change about this? Cansey at 6, Forbes at 18, Jahmyr Gibbs at 48, and Benton at 55. So this is hard for me because you're drafting me and Adam's 2 favorite players. I don't hate it. I think, maybe Cansey at 6 if you could trade back and take him, but I don't have a problem. You like him, you take him at 6. Forbes at 18. That's a power move. I don't hate it either. I think Emmanuel Forbes is going to be one of the best corners to come out. You're taking him at 18. People might think it's a reach. I don't if you like the player. But Benton and Jahmyr Gibbs are solid. So I like that mock draft, to be honest with you. I do. Overtime says, Mailbag, what if the Titans trade up for a defensive player and our chances of getting Carter become slim? Well, then you're in an interesting position because you're probably looking at Tyree Wilson or Cansey. You're still going to have some of the guys you want available.
Oh, God. Goff missed a lot of passes in Carolina for a bit because of the cold. Meanwhile, they ran through our non-existent D-line. That is true. What I would say to that is he plays 8 to 9 games a year in a dome, and for the most part of the season, the weather is fine. And come playoff time, if he does struggle with that, you know what? You're going to have to accept it. Most quarterbacks do. There's maybe 6 or 7 in the NFL right now. It doesn't matter where they are. They do fine. He's not one of those. That's just pros and cons. Have to live with it.
Great Lake
Ruler
says, what linebackers should we be focused on? I would say Jack Campbell or Trenton Simpson.
I don't think Campbell's realistic anymore.
But Campbell, if you could try and trade up for him, I don't know if he might go late first.
He's going to be a late first, early second round pick.
Maybe
he won't
Trenton
be there
Simpson.
at 48. Trenton Simpson's okay. Very nice prospect. Deion Henley obviously keeps showing up on a lot of boards. We'll see.
True Finesse says, Mailbag, what would be a home run draft in the first 2 rounds?
There's
a couple different scenarios. I think you can make it.
Will Anderson,
that'd be a home run.
That would be a home run.
Yeah.
To me, if you walk away with Kalijah Cansey, Christian Gonzalez, Jack Campbell, and Jalen Hyatt, I can't think of a better board than that. I don't know how realistic it is, though, right? I can come up with a lot of scenarios.
The Gaming Drew says, you guys in a dealership? Yes, we're at Feldman Chevrolet in Novi. Come check it out. I just actually got my 2022 Chevy Equinox here about 2 months ago.
You crashed it yet?
Treat me well. No.
Do you know how to drive?
I do know how to drive.
Who gave you your license? How many tickets have you had so far?
I've had 1.
You've had.
It was actually a funny story. It was on Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I was driving home, was trying to get to a holiday party. I was going 55 and a 45, and he slapped me with a ticket.
I'm going to use
time getting pulled over.
My white/media privilege kicked in a month ago.
What?
I got pulled over and the cop recognized me.
No, he did not.
And I was going 65 and a 40. Fucking easy as fuck. Fuck the law.
Sicko.
Doesn't apply to me. How does that make all of you feel, huh?
How does it make all you feel? You sicko.
God. What did you do this weekend?
You pitch Cansey to him. No, I did. Don't even. No, I did not. Shut it. Fresh and fly, before we go, one question. Mailbag, trade back to 11 if Carter and Anderson are off the board and AR-15 is there. Swap picks with Tennessee and gain Simmons in a third or fourth. Tennessee needs a quarterback. Listen, I still think if Tennessee can't get a deal done with Arizona, I think it's worth talking to Tennessee because I think a quarterback will be there at 6. And I would be cool moving back to 11. I think that makes the most sense.
Adham, Jalen, Carter. I wasn't racing, though. To be fair. To be fair, I was going 65, and I acknowledged it. I didn't get pulled over and denied it, all right? I told him, he's like, you know why I'm pulling you over today? Oh, Adam, hey, Adam Woodward Sports. You know why I'm pulling you over? I'm like, yeah, I was speeding. He's like, what's the rush? I'm like, wife's giving me an attitude. I'm on my way home, whatever. So I made up something. And he's like, oh, man, I love the show. Da-da-da, and let me off the hook, which is pretty cool. But at least, I acknowledged I was speeding.
Yeah, you were honest. Yeah, you were very honest. You didn't lie to him.
I didn't lie. I said, I don't know why you're pulling me over, officer. That's the
Honesty
number one way to
important.
piss off a cop is lie to him. Bitch, they have you on a radar. Of course they know you're speeding. It's a rhetorical question. Adam gives me racist vibes. 100% totally racist.
No, you're not.
I can't stand anybody.
That narrative
Can't
is
stand
ridiculous.
any
Just
of you.
because you don't like Andy Richardson, you're racist. I guess that's how that works.
I guess probably not the place to say this. Anyways, let's get out of here. That was a fun show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for Feldman for having us out here. It's been fun,
Yes.
Jeff. Till tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
We'll have some fun. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll take some callers. Get your thoughts on the Jalen Carter video. Get your thoughts on a potential Will Anderson move. Does it make sense? Would Seattle do the trade if Tennessee does move up and draft a quarterback? It's going to be a fun few weeks, guys. It's going to be a fun few weeks. The Masters starts. You all have a great rest of your Monday.
Thanks for being patient.
We're out of here.